right. We are back. We are simulcasting, and we have a special group of myself, David Stig, and Mike Alien
Ah,
Carvings with us. Welcome back, Mr. Stig. You just got back from the Eye of the Sahara, and well, glad you're back and glad you can
yeah,
make
I
it.
got home safe. I'm here. Sorry, I don't
Uh,
have my camera on. That's a shot of Morocco. I went there too. I went to 5 countries, including Paris, but that didn't count. So 4 countries.
So that's a shot of Morocco right there, and as Rebecca, that's
I
wild.
almost went there. I almost went to that spot, but I'm learning about Morocco. I want to go back for sure. And the Mauritania, yeah, third time in the Rashad structure. I got to get back there again, but the next time has to be a special trip for me. I got to take a camel tour apparently to get to the Giants quarry, a place that I so named because it's so big and visible on the Google Earth. But I had to go back this time to see Randall Carlson. If you didn't know, Randall Carlson talked about the quarries in this structure that were being quarried by somebody hundreds and thousands of years ago. He said 1.2 million is what Randall Carlson said. So it's like,
Really?
what? Where did that number? What paper you been reading, Randall? He didn't say that. He didn't tell us that. So yeah, I had to go look. When I got there, it was a little chaotic, but saw for sure I was there where the chert outcrops he was talking about.
That's
So
wild. That's amazing. I
yeah,
hopefully will be able to go. If it's next year, hopefully I can come with you on that
I'm
trip.
doing tours. It's 30,000 US dollars, and
Damn.
that's for one half person. So
Oh well, we'll see. Maybe 2 years from now, we'll see if YouTube
no,
algorithm.
really, I'll tell you what. Or I just tell you how to go by yourself. Yeah, okay, it cost my first trip cost me under $2,000 to get to the eye of the Sahara. I don't know if I could do it again for that price at this point. That was in 2022, but it's not undoable. And Jimmy Corsetti of Bright Insight, you might have heard of him. He says he's going. I want to try to go with him.
You should.
I
We
want to
all
try,
should.
but it's up to him, not me. I mean, I'm game. I'm down because
Oh
I
yeah.
know it can only help me. But no, was it Atlantis? I'm there. I mean, even if it wasn't Atlantis, what's with all the canals? What's with all the quarries? What's with the weird stuff that I showed you last time, and I found even more now, and demonstrated it from the ground. I went there, another place, but I don't want to talk too much. You have a guest, Mike. Who's Mike? Where is he?
I'm
So we
here.
got
Hi,
yeah,
Mike.
How goes
Mike.
it? Nice to meet you.
AlienCarvings.com. Nice to meet you. Yeah. I don't really have a website going, but check out my YouTube channel at Stigworks or my full name. And I got a lot of stuff going on with Atlantis. And by the way, Ancient Aliens, I just got an Anunnaki warning. And I can get into my feelings about ET in general, but the Ancient Aliens theory, unfortunately, is kind of stuck in my ribs. It's the thorn in my side. I don't want to be genetically altered, but it seems like that's what's been happening.
Right? Like
Yeah, I'm going to say that that's exactly what's happened here in the past.
I
Million
feel
years.
that. It's like you just don't want that to be the truth, but all the evidence seems to keep pointing out to it, and that most likely it was some sort of master creator, like group,
Maybe like this guy
society,
here.
being beings, exactly, that came and founded this planet that would have been doing that terraforming the leftover million-year-old ruins that Stig's been investigating,
Look what I
essentially.
found in South Africa, and then also in New Mexico. It's just insane, and it just doesn't make sense. I don't even talk about this stuff in the mainstream. When I say mainstream, I'm talking about the Rashad, Jimmy Corsetti world. I don't want to start talking about this other stuff on the side because people navigate away real fast. They don't
Yeah.
want to. They don't want to stretch their brain to realize something freaking big has been going on.
Yeah, there's a definite cover up, and I can pretty much prove it. I mean, the Nazca mummies are the proof. Honestly, that's the biggest giveaway. That the fact that they're still saying that those aren't real is absolute bullshit.
Well, you
I,
know
I
what?
can
Like
I
I
can
said,
say
I'm
it
gonna. By the way, I'm
factually.
gonna open it up. I am gonna give. What do you mean the Nazca mummies? You know, I don't know everything about all this, and I've heard that before. But can you just summarize a little bit more?
Yeah, so we found depictions and statues of the three finger tridactyls in Mexico, and there's been close to 30 different species that they've found. There's actually a lawsuit going on right now for a defamation of Jaime Mausam because he came out with this truth with credible scientific information, and they completely shut him down and had someone come out with a false report stating that they were manufactured, but that's absolutely not true. I have dissection videos, I have X-rays, I have full radiology, full 3D CT scan renders of these beings inside and out. There's eggs with fluid inside of them, embryos inside of them that have been identified. I mean, I could go on this for some time. It's really undeniable at this point to me, but it's just crazy that they're still saying that it's not true. You
I
know,
missed the word. Did you say it sounded like you said pterodactyls? But what was
it's
that word you
actually
said?
the species is tridactyl. It's
Oh,
Trydacle, I believe, and that's because of the type of being that they are. They were called that scientifically for whatever purposes I can't elaborate on, but yeah, that's the scientific name of the species.
gotcha, gotcha.
Right.
Reptilian.
Mike even purchased a couple of the mummies themselves, and they confiscated them.
Yeah, they
I'm
confiscated
sorry.
them. They,
What
they
country?
X-rayed them at DHL and could see the bones, and so they wanted to, research them. They dissected them and came out with a report from Peru stating that they were biological beings and that they were not modified in any way. But still, even with that press release from Peru, the American tabloids and the world tabloids did not recover that part, and they still refuse to this day.
So who's
But
they? The Peruvian government? They or American
well,
side?
the Peruvian government actually came out and said that they were real. They had 12 of their high doctors, PhDs, etc., all sign off on it with the lab paperwork and everything. They had DNA tests done by multiple different laboratories to confirm. And um, yeah, that was December 7th, 2023, when they came out with that report as Peru. And my mummies were seized on October 7th, and they did all the research at University of Ica, documented it very well, and then in January, I think on the like the 11th, they came out and said that it was all fake.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. What a turnaround.
Yeah.
Right. And zero evidence given, and then they also wouldn't give you back your quote unquote fake mummies that you had purchased, even
Right.
though
Well, they used them in the
Yeah,
lab
if
to
it's fake,
identify if they were real or
we
not.
had to destroy your evidence to prove that it wasn't
Yeah, they never
evidence.
showed us that they were fake or how they were assembled or anything like that, even though we have full scans that show that there's not an entry or an exit into the body, full scans that show that there's no adhesives or any sort of, because you can see adhesives when you're doing radiology. It's obvious because of how they're made, and almost, unless it's organic. But then if it's organic, it'll be carbon testable, and you can see with an SEM really what's inside of it and how it was made at that point. So it's not that.
Okay, so this is a little distraction, but it just happened. I have a file I created in I like sorry, this most simplest file sorry, anyways, the point is that I created a file .txt. It's titled Brian Forrester. It's on my desktop. I had one question in there for him. I click on it and I get two windows pop open. One has the question, and now I've got also a second file named Brian Forrester that's blank. What the fuck, Windows 11? Really? It's
Yeah,
just
should have
I
got
don't
an
understand
Apple.
it. Well, I like cheap. I like cheap, and I trust them. Then I give them my music, and they take it away from me.
Yeah.
right? It's
I
you
don't have
can't.
any music anymore, by the way. It's all on the cloud in YouTube. Yeah, so Brian Forrester, and are we talking about elongated skulls here? I mean, I get a little
Oh,
confused.
absolutely.
Sure are.
Yeah.
And
Look at this. This
I'm
is
looking at
a
both actually. Oh, whoa.
So so for pretext,
Yeah, I see
Mike,
that. That's very interesting.
Mike got all of these artifacts from two locations in Mexico, Tulum
What are you
and
holding right now? Exactly. It's not a skull, but a
It
sculpture.
is. It's a crystal skull.
Oh, crystal. Okay, so we can agree that some people out there did bind their skulls. I'm thinking
Correct.
about what to ask Brian, but not in Peru. Did they bind skulls in Peru? No, I don't
You
think
know,
so.
I would ask Brian what he found out about Guerrero, Mexico, and what he understood, because he's posted pictures of work and research that he's done in Guerrero, and Guerrero is a hot spot for these items as well. Like these items here are from Guerrero, but you know, like this piece here and multiple others are documented from start to finish. They did the GPR scans. They dug down to 14-foot dig level, found a cave, and excavated the cave over like a 9-month process. Every step of the way, every 5-gallon pail. And it's about 1,500 meters from Tula B in Tula Hidalgo, there where the Atlantean statues that look, you know, similar to this guy here are standing. And yeah, we have found a lot of relevance to Atlantis because, you know, if you look into the Anunnaki, they were supposedly, they came from the sea. If you look at the reports of the Syrians or the Dogon people, they also believed in the Nomo who came from the sea. And this story, I think, goes into Japan too with the being called Dugu, if I recall. Um, but nonetheless, this is a pretty consistent theme that these beings used to be in the sea. If you read J.J. Hertock's work, he actually talks about in the Book of Knowledge in 1973 that the people of Atlantis were aquatic beings and could be socializing in the water. So that's an interesting tidbit too. That guy's book has had more things come true than I think Nostradamus in terms of its prophecy.
I'm sorry, which guy?
J.J. Hertock in the Book of Knowledge, The Keys of Enoch.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna have to read that one. I had not
Yeah.
heard of
Well,
that.
it sounds about. I mean, I'm learning a lot every day, but what's blowing my mind is the connection to the first of all the Old Testament.
Hmm.
And it's like the New Testament. I don't want to get started. I don't want to piss people off, but it's obviously a construct that was reinvented and then reconstructed. But and then in the New Testament as well. But when you
It's
talk
because
about
the
Enoch,
power changed hands.
yeah, yeah.
You know that it went from the fallen, from Enlil to Enki essentially, and in that process, that's why you see it go from Enlil to Marduk in the Babylonian history in terms of worship, and you'll also see it in the Egyptian as well, going from the Old Kingdom to the New Kingdom, and the representation of the Eye of Ra versus the Eye of Horus, and they went from worshiping the Eye of Ra to the Eye of Horus, and I think that's a really iconic thing to look at in Mesopotamia as well, is you have this conversion that somehow the people stopped believing in this guy and started believing in this guy. And that's consistent from the Old to the New Testament as well. And I think the names are just wrong. In the Bible, it says, you know, that God has many names, or the Lord has many names. And I think that that's really iconic to think about here, considering how many tribes and groups of individuals that are on this planet and different beliefs, but also how many of them are structured around a trinity.
Yeah, I was just watching that today. Robert Zephyr today.
Oh yeah.
He did something that had a trinity in it, and
Yeah.
it was the male, the female, and the sex act. That was the trinity he mentioned, and it went
Interesting.
quickly from the title. Yeah, that was today.
Yeah, you see it in the Hindu culture as well with the tri-faced deity, and you'll see it here as well. Um,
He mentioned the lingam in that video today, and it made me realize for the first time the lingam really is both genitalia, the male and the female genitalia together,
you got to think
right?
that they used to be both sexes probably prior to Adam, because it says in the Bible that, you know, Mary, or that Eve was created from Adam's rib. So does that mean prior to that, the sons of God are this what they're listed at that come to mate with the women of man? But if they created Eve from the rib of man, then who did they mate with essentially? Who were these women, right?
Maybe the rib is where they took the DNA that they used to genetically modify the human.
Yeah, and there's a lot of depictions like that on these
I don't
pieces in
even
terms of like,
I don't even like to think too hard about stuff like this because I can't fathom it. I can't control it, and so what is that right
that I
there?
don't
That's
either. But
interesting.
but when I see it on these artifacts and I see it depicted in plain as day iconography, then I have to definitely think about it because it definitely brings a whole nother notion of plausibility that I normally couldn't accept prior. When you see stuff
Yeah,
like
for
this,
sure.
look at
Couldn't
this.
accept it. No way. No way could I have accepted it as well. I would have never have said that. Yeah, I'd be like,
I'm with you 120%. Yeah, no, I was an agnostic for 38 years of my life, and like I never really acknowledged Jesus until I found these pieces and started to make these connections and realize that it's not even about necessarily Jesus, but it's totally about this reign of power.
And the Jehovah's Witness believe that Anki, or excuse me, that Michael was the angelic version of Christ before he embodied the flesh. And in the Bible, it says that Jesus assumed all the roles of Michael when he ascended down. And so that's really an interesting concept to think about is what this being was prior to. And the story of someone like Anki, he's the water god. And something with Michael, whenever Michael came in the Bible, it would start raining. And I think that there's a connection there between these beings. You can see on this piece here, you've got the two serpents, and if you go to the Anunnaki beliefs, their god was a primordial dragon. And so to see the sons of God as two serpents is logical. And you see here the loaf of bread, which is usually Lord or God in the Egyptian language, and then the symbol of water. So you have Anki, I believe, is this serpent here, who also embodied like Quetzalcoatl and multiple other entities. I think that these beings that created this planet were probably ability to make themselves into lots of different beings, maybe even simultaneously.
Thus, all the anthropomorphic figures and probable beings of that time are maybe
Yeah.
why they were recorded and not just fiction.
like Horus
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and you look at
and the Indians.
Anubis, right? And Anubis is the Greek equivalent of Hades, the dog. And so what's really interesting is Hades was Zeus's brother, and Zeus thought of himself as the god of all gods, right? And that he was number one. And so what's interesting is it's Anu bis in Latin. Bis means two. So Anu is the high god of the Anunnaki, and then bis is two. And so what if that he was Zeus's brother, and he essentially was god number two. And that's why he was named Onubis. And likely he went and did things in Egypt and stuff because there's stuff of the dog recorded all over the place, but
Well, we got
you
the
see it.
dog star, right? There's no way that they
Serious.
were. Yeah, there's no. Are you serious? Because
No, I'm
I'm
dead
very serious.
serious.
Yeah, the dog star. Okay, it's not on the ecliptic, right? So
Right?
It's part of a, but it is part of the Orion story,
Orion. Yeah. Look at this.
and there it is. And so of course they were worshiping that shit. It's the brightest star in the sky.
Where is the Orion on here? Yeah. And so what's really interesting is the Dogon people, the people of the dog, they're in Mali, Africa there, and they were exiled out of Egypt earlier than 3700 BC because when the Greeks got there 3700 BC, they came up on the Dogon people and they documented them having this festival of the elliptical orbit of the second star of Sirius. And so they named the substance that they were celebrating with cannabis because it was the two dog. That's what canna canine, and then bis again from Anubis or whatever is number two. So we have the cannabis for the two dog star people, and that's why they named it that. Well, what's really interesting is they said that they brought it from the planet Sirius. Now, if you look at the word Sirius, what would people from Sirius be called? They would be called Syrian, right? And then you have the country Syria. You have Osiris or Osirius, if you spell it out. And you also have the Assyrian nation or Assyrian Empire, who were the people who worshiped the Anunnaki.
Did they worship? I mean, I
They
know that
did.
they certainly did tell the story.
Well,
I think
I
it's
shouldn't.
enough.
Yeah,
I think it's enough.
no. They absolutely worshipped them because the Babylonian Empire worshipped Enlil until Marduk took the seat.
What year? Any year on that?
I'm not going to quote it.
Because you just blew my mind.
BC.
So sorry.
BC. Yeah.
So what I should be asking is, can you say that name again? Mario
Marduk. Oh,
Marduk.
Enlil. Enlil, who's the brother of Enki, the water god. And I believe that uh, these two beings have fought with each other, and they're what caused the demiurge, and they're also what caused the creation of this nation, or this universe rather. You know, our universe is everly expanding, and you have to ask yourself, how is that even physically possible? Well, in the Bible it says Michael pushed Satan, and if Michael is Enki and Satan is Enlil, and when this push occurred, when they were fighting, that created this universe that we're in today. And the fall is what the created the Big Bang, and then also created the expansion, because the fall hasn't ended and we're still falling or expanding, however you want to look at it.
And by the way, what about expanding Earth? That's a new concept that I just have been presented with. Expanding
Yeah.
Earth instead of Pangea. What? Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Pangea can still be Pangea, but it's coming from a different direction now.
Exactly.
I'm getting a lot
Terraforming
of
probably from
expanding
within
Earth.
the earth. You know,
Well,
it
I
says
still
in the
think that
Bible.
must be pretty old. I mean, like we're talking, like when did water appear on this planet? I mean, the dinosaurs were annihilated 65 million years ago. Am I wrong? So therefore,
Yep.
the water was already around 100 million years.
Like 2 billion,
I
at
think it's
least
2
2
billion or something. Yeah.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I used to
billion.
look stuff like that up before AI. I would ask Google, "How old is the Earth? How old is the universe?
Yeah.
How long has water been on Earth?" It'd be like 2 billion exact years.
Chat GPT spoils us for sure.
Well, I'm actually got a couple lies recently, so I'm very, very cautious
Yeah,
with the chat
no,
GPT.
you're right. The Google one's the
Yeah.
worst. Google one has lied to me more than anything I've ever seen, and it
Gemini.
actually it caused me to go out and spend $10,000 on a server and start getting my own LLM licenses so I can run my own LLM, and I'm going to feed it my own data and control my own rules, because honestly, there's no other safe way to get the answers to things that you want to know at this point, in my opinion.
Sounds like we should be hanging out. Where are you located?
I'm
Approximately?
in
You know,
Spokane, Washington.
okay. All right. I'm down here in Southern California.
Oh, cool.
I'm going to
Are
be
you going to be
taking it.
are you going to be at Contact in the Desert?
I don't usually do that. That's up in what, Joshua Tree?
Yeah, it's Palm Beach area. Yep.
Palm Beach, I don't know. I know the high desert, Joshua Tree, 29 Palms. I live in Palm Springs.
Or no,
I
that's
think
where it
I
is.
think
Yeah, Palm
that's what you
Springs.
mean.
Yeah, no, it's in Palm
But
Springs.
still though, Contact in the Desert, I thought that was up in the Joshua Tree area over
It's
there.
close. It's right at the border, I
They have
believe.
a little metaphysics center going on.
Yeah,
But
it's a
yeah,
nice
I'm right
resort
here.
hotel.
And that's where
Yeah,
I
you
met
should.
Jimmy Corsetti last, and I went to CPAC in Rancho
We've got a
Mirage.
booth that's going to be there, and I'll be there all the days. So yeah, if you stop through, definitely say hi.
What's the date on that?
Heck
It's
yeah.
the end of May, first part of June.
Okay, I think that should be doable.
Oh
Heck yeah.
wow. Look
I'm supposed to go to
at that.
Taiwan this week, but I'm getting antsy about it. Like I want to back out of the whole trip for some reason. Maybe this whole thing
See?
that happened
Got
in
to go
Hong
with your
Kong.
gut.
Well, let's
Exactly.
just say I've been busy. I don't know if you've seen. I don't think so. But other platforms I've shared what I'm doing. A lot of construction. I'm 56. I'm getting old. I can't do all this work.
For sure.
But you got a lot of stuff. That's Spokane, Washington, huh?
Yep.
Crypto, you're in
Yeah, I've been
Spokane. You're in
researching
Washington
this.
too, right?
I put out 2 books
No.
so far, and then
Can-
I have a third book coming out that goes in directly to my theories about the connections to Atlantis here. So when I get that done, I'll definitely share it with you so you can check it out.
I think with Atlantis, I'm trying to keep it simple these days. Yes, Atlantis, but yes, pre-Atlantis cataclysm. Atlantis was the end, right? That was the cataclysm. They were
Yeah.
already like turning their backs on the rest of the world. I think they were getting fighting, starting trouble, being dicks, and then
Creating
suddenly,
beings that weren't supposed to be created and stuff.
well, see, that's something I don't mentally do. You're connecting the Anunnaki with Atlantis directly, and
No, no.
I
It
don't.
says that the Atlanteans were misusing and mistreating the DNA or the it's not. It doesn't say DNA in there, obviously. But I was just watching a thing about this, and yeah, it went into detail that they were abusing the God. What was the word for it?
Genetics.
No, but that's not it though. It was something more ancient sounding than that.
Hmm.
Yeah. Either way, I'll try to reference it a little bit better and
But you're
find it
not
here.
saying Plato said that. Who said it? Somebody.
I'm not 100. That's why I say I'll try to get the
I mean,
reference
what do
of
we
it so I
have for
can show it.
sources for Atlantis? We've got Plato, and then of course we've got other sources in Egypt on the um on the temples, and
Hmm.
now we've got people saying, "Oh, Plato got it wrong. It was not 9,000 years. It was 9,000 months, or some shit like
I
Yeah,
that."
don't
we
believe
we
that.
think around 10,500 years because of the carbon dates and where this stuff lies, as
Yeah,
well as
we've
if you
got
look at
that too.
the younger Dryas
Sure,
period that caused the
sure.
ice age, likely the same event.
I'm
I
trying to
agree with
do
that.
my Graham Hancock impression, but it just sucks. And it's like 12,800. He says 12,006. I was just
That's
listening, but
funny.
who knows? That could have been a couple years ago. So, yeah, he's one guy. I just can't. He was born in Scotland.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
and I
but
mean
of
if
course
it's
he doesn't
10,000
have a Scottish.
BC, that is about
Oh, yeah,
12,000
yeah,
years
yeah,
ago.
yeah, yeah. 10,000 BC plus 2. And I think the number he was saying in the last lecture was 12,6.
Okay,
12,6. Yeah, or
I could
11,6.
see that.
11,6, 12,6.
Yeah, I
Now
hear him say
now I'm
11
confused.
sometimes, I
It's in
think.
that
It's
millennia
in
for
that
sure.
right. Either way, right around 12,000, basically. Right at the Younger Dryas event.
Look, I've got a lot of discoveries in the Rashad structure, that whole area. You mentioned Mali, and I can tell you right
Hmm.
now, there are artificial mountains in Mali. You
I
can
believe
look
that.
closely at them. They're basically ancient mining tailings, overburden dumping in rows after rows after rows. I'll show you if I get a screen later on. I'll show you if I don't crash
Okay.
out. Kind of started early today. I've been ever since I got back from Europe. I just haven't been able to get with this American thing. And then we had the time change, but I've been crashing out at like 6 p.m. What is it now? It's
Look,
9:38 right now. I think I'm doing okay.
you
But
are. We got you late tonight then.
yeah, well, a lot of other times I put up a video. I just put up a short, and I'm kind of looking forward to the results. But I'm kind of done with YouTube. Certainly do have a lot of crystal skulls there. That is
This
quite
is
the
a bone one
collection.
here.
Now, what about that one crystal one that's so clear? I used to watch it back. I'm old, right? So we were talking about like In Search of,
You're talking
and
about Einstein or
no, there's this one crystal skull. Apparently, it was
Mitchell
one of
Hedges?
5. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's been a
I think
while.
that's Mitchell Hedges. Also, a couple of them are flutes too. You gotta show Stig the flute.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Here, I'll play one here for you. This is a hollowed out skull here. These eyes are the reeds to play it. It weighs about 20 pounds.
It looks like a shell. That's heavy.
Yeah, it's a rock.
That's a good question. Are all of those Mexican carvings? That's what somebody just asked.
Yep, everything's from Mexico.
Wow.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah,
a
these
couple
things
pictures.
are.
I got a couple pictures of me in the mouth of Charlotte Quindley. Oh, did I just say the wrong word? Sorry, I said the wrong word. That's the Mexican hairless dog, Xoloitzcuintli. I meant to say
Yeah.
the feathered serpent.
Quetzalcoatl.
Quetzalcoatl, yeah. There's a couple pictures. I just edited it out. I got a little video. Maybe I'll even show it to you if we share screen. But so yeah, there is a lot of you've shown me a lot of stuff I've never seen before, and I grew up around Mexican sculpture. I really did.
Yeah.
So it's like now you've got like I don't know your source. Where are you getting this stuff from?
Well, I suggest checking out our feed on TikTok because I document it very in depth there. It's at Alien Carvings. I've also put out 2 books that you can get on Amazon if you search for my name, which is Michael Forrest, or you can search for Tula, Tula, or Oelos. That's Ojeuelos.
There was a
Um,
glitch. Just repeat that one more time. That last link.
yeah, Oelos or Tula
What was
on
that last one?
Amazon.
Whalos? How did you spell it? The last
It's
one you spelled.
Ojeuelos. And
Gotcha.
so there's pieces that look like this. You know, all of this here is from Oelos. And you can see there's complex mosaics here. This red glue has been carbon dated over 50 times with consistent dates 10 to 20,000 years ago. Um, you know, they're really complex creations. This is a pipe here that's a mosaic.
That one you were just showing kind of looked almost Egyptian. The
Yeah,
one
there's
that one bird, the bird with the eye. What is that?
it is. It's Horus likely.
Oh
It's a
yeah.
falcon. Yeah, Horus is depicted on
Oh,
tons of these pieces. So is the Scarab, Thoth, Anubis, Sekhmet, Sobek. You know, quite a few of them have shown up on these pieces. Um,
Basically proves global civilization, right? Like there was an
yeah,
ancient
it's
transcontinental advanced civilization.
we got
That one
six
right there,
pyramids
that's
on
not
one side
come
of the
on, that's
world.
not Mexican. Sorry, that's not Mexican right there. What was that? That was Persian.
No, no,
That
it's all from
last one,
Mexico.
okay,
We
but
found direct Anunnaki evidence. Look at this. This is a Mexico cup here. This is the tree of life with the pine cones that all these beings are passing. You see here the winged
wow.
sun disk, the crescent moon that the Muslims worship. You got the belt here of Orion. This
Oh
is an
my god, that
alabaster cup.
skull to the right. Oh my god. You know what? I really want to share a
This,
picture with you. That skull to the
please
right,
do.
it looks like ET. I have a picture that I just saved on my desktop that is almost exactly like that skull, that ET skull, that elongated skull, right next to the one you were just showing to the right. Not that to the right. That's a pine. That's a pineal. The pine cone, right? The pineal. What do you call it?
yeah, they pass. I've got the pine cones here. You know, they're
The one to
found
the
in.
right. Touch the one on the right. Touch it.
That one?
The big one on the table next to the Sumerian looking one that looks like Anunnaki stuff right there.
This guy here.
No. It's all right. The last table.
That one?
I'm telling you, I've got a picture I want to share. Yeah, it is one hell of a Shermanator says that's one hell of a collection. It really is.
Yeah, I've been documenting this for 4 years. When I started documenting it, you know, the government said it was all fake, and and there was things about it that were, you know, very strange. Like this here has complex formula looking stuff on it. I found numerous astrolabes. Even this one here is a 4 foot disc. This thing weighs over 200, well, close to 200 pounds or so. At least $150. It's got a lot of really crazy alchemical glyphs on it, and
What the heck is happening in that image right there? It looks like some type of a locust
a lot.
abortion or something.
Like so much in that. In each artifact. It's crazy.
But on the back of it is what I was showing here. You can see it's got one of the astrolabes, you know, the North Star here in the middle, and then you've got your different constellations depicted.
Like a straight Sumerian star calendar. Star.
Bingo. Oh my gosh, very heavy. And this stuff, I mean, I've documented it. They found these holes in the ground, and this stuff's on the ancient bedrock too. It's not just in these carvings. it's on the walls of this place as well. And everything has luminescence or phosphorescence. And I mean, 95% of the specimens you can see when I turn off the light here. I mean, this stuff is still glowing.
Steve, you still with us? You see, and Mike was the one that discovered that they glow.
No.
No? Oh, it was your
I,
buddy. It was your
I,
buddy.
yeah. So my buddy found the phosphorescence on the Abuelos pieces, and but as far as the
Abuelos.
Tulo pieces go, that's where I came in, and he didn't have any pieces from Tula, and I started checking the Abuelos pieces, and then all of a sudden one of these things just started glowing green. It was one of the pine cones, and yeah. And then I mean, the guys down there now hit everything with a UV. Before I had over 200 pieces, and they never offered anything that they were UV. Which, if you were to take the time and apply all this, you're definitely going to try to sell it, especially in the depth that it is, like the eye there and the way that the shadow is. You can see there's a lot of effort.
I've still yet to find anything else like these. It's
Yeah, no,
wild.
I've never seen anything like that before in my life.
Yeah, that's where I was at too, and I've been in lapidary for a long time. My wife cuts opals, and so when I seen archaeologist Mark Russell and TV show host Scott Wolter discussing this stuff and saying that it's real on America Unearthed back in 2019, I couldn't help but ask twice. And the government's sitting here telling me it's safe for me to buy it. It's modern. It's got aliens on it. There's never any aliens back then, etc. Well, that might be why we have this large trail of war and cover up that, people used to complain that they would bury stuff at the bottom of the Vatican. And whenever they'd find something crazy, the artifacts would disappear. I mean, we've heard these rumors for as long as I can remember. And I think they're not rumors at this point, or there might be some of them that are true.
The evidence sure is pointing that way.
Yeah.
And the parallels between a lot of your artifacts, OOPARTS, and Klaus Donna's collections from the same area in Ecuador are just stunning.
I heard rumor that he's planning to try to disclose something on this, but he's been real quiet and working really, really diligently to do so. One thing I noticed is really crazy. So there's these pieces, right? I started to make resin replicas of them. I'm going to be promoting my book, and I wanted to have something that people could take with them that showed the symbology and stuff like that, and then people could help, study it. And if the government ever changed their mind, that at least there would be lots of copies of these pieces out there for people to learn from. And so, as I was making some of these, I made a mold out of silicone, and as it was pouring, the hole right here in the silicone turned green, or like it was a light greenish blue. And I'm like, what the heck? And it's only the thing that goes through the drill hole. And I was like, what the heck? And so I researched what could make silicone turn blue or purple, or blue or green rather. And the only thing I could find was copper. And so what I thought was interesting, that it was the drill hole that did this. Back in the day, they used a lot of copper tools. So what's to say that there was shavings in this drill hole that were of copper tools? And so when it dyed the silicone.
I was just watching a mining video about this guy was mining the tailings of an old not ancient, a couple 100 years old mine, and he was finding blue and green. Some of it was copper, some of it was something else.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I can't remember what it was, but it was like what was it? Copper is green. Copper turns
probably
green.
a zinc, maybe a zinc.
Maybe zinc. Yeah.
Yeah.
But whatever blue was, it was something in that mine.
Just the fact
all about that gold, right?
Yeah, the monoatomic, apparently.
What was that thing you were saying about Guerrero, Mexico? Can you be more specific?
Yeah, so Brian Forrester posted here back in 2021, I believe it was. It's probably still on his Instagram, but he posted a bizarre looking creature. It looked like the remains of an alien, honestly. And you know, he posted real briefly, you know, something I'm doing research in Guerrero, Mexico, but that was it. He didn't elaborate on it. He didn't say anything, and I've never seen anything posted after. So maybe he disproved it. I'm not sure, but I think it would sure be interesting to know what he knows about these pieces and specifically, you know, his work in Guerrero, because I know he was there on the ground, or at least that's what it said on his Instagram.
And you said some of your artifacts are from that same area, correct?
Yeah, I've got quite a few pieces, and a lot of the pieces that come from there are bone. You can see like this dagger here, you know, and it's got a different look to it. What's also interesting is these bones are phosphorescent, and they show the same type of thing: the DNA, the angelic beings,
Yeah.
you know, different masks and things.
So the bones can be carbon dated, and they're
Oh yeah,
phosphorescent.
absolutely. As long as
Wow.
there's collagen still that it's existing. We've done 2 samples off of these skulls and didn't get any conclusive collagen. But now we had the guy from France come in. He was here last week and took 4 samples off of 2 different skulls. We got it all on video, and so we should have a carbon date on one of these things here. Hopefully here. You know, he said about 3 weeks because he was going to be in New York for another week. So.
All right, looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's I'm waiting to put out the 3rd book because I want to put that test in there. There's a large section on the bone skulls in there and the research that we've done and stuff like that. So I really want to close it out with a date, you know.
100%. That's
For
huge
sure.
news.
Hey, on a
Yep.
side note, because there's been kind of an outcrop of London Hammer posts on Twitter recently. I mean, if you know about that London Hammer thing.
No.
I do not.
It's basically, it looks like a sledgehammer from like the 1800s, and it's like
Okay.
embedded
Yeah.
in concrete. And that, okay, look, I just want to say I reached out to the organization that has that, and I asked them straight up, did you carbon date it? And they said no. They're a
Huh.
Christian organization.
Yeah.
Now, why would a Christian organization want to prove that something's super old? They wouldn't, right? They would
Right.
want it to be 8,000 years old max, or whatever, 6,000. So this organization says, no, we haven't carbon dated it. But these people saying 500 million years old, I don't know about that one. You got a handle. It's made of wood. Wood doesn't last that long. So
Right.
I don't really
Well, it
trust it.
depends. That's not true because it depends on how it was preserved. Everybody always says, "Oh, the age on these pieces, there's not enough erosion." Well, what you don't realize is that these are found in a packing of mud. And we found a ring. It looked like it was gold. He took it out and shipped it to me. 2 weeks later, it's sitting here on my table. I've still got the dust here. You can see this green dust. This is the corrosion of this ring. It started to oxidize immediately. Well, not immediately, but over, you know, and it's completely almost gone. The ring's almost non-existent now.
Really?
I've never
It's
seen
made of
anything
gold.
like it.
It's made of gold.
Co-
No, it looked like
Copper
gold.
is gotta be
Copper
not,
doesn't oxidize that fast. It has to
not
be
that
something
fast
else,
now.
probably like zinc or something. I know if it's a pure enough form of zinc, it oxidizes really fast. But what's strange is that it didn't oxidize for them to make it and to have it, but now it does. And I just don't quite understand. You know, obviously if it was packed in mud in the ground, it could prevent the oxidation from occurring, but how they were able to sport it back then and keep it from oxidizing is beyond me.
That is very strange and anomalous.
Yeah.
It would have had to be very dry too to not. Yeah.
And I've bought, you know, hundreds of items from this guy, and he's supplied. I mean, I've handled at least 25 of the rings from Tula, and you know, none of them did that. You know, most of them, a lot of them have tested. We found rhodium and silver, gold, tin, platinum, copper, zinc. You know, quite a few different elements, but nothing that's ever done that.
Just wild. Man, every single artifact is truly a mystery.
Oops.
And that's some of the red.
Why is Gene Splice commenting archaics? What's so special about archaics?
Well, there's just a conversation in the live chat on my channel about.
He went off on Jimmy Corsetti the other day.
Yeah, that's a whole other rabbit hole. But I just don't buy that guy. His past is just it's not good. Not good.
You mean the criminal past of archaics, or the
Yeah, exactly.
the
I got nothing against Jimmy. Jimmy, I find to be a great guy, but archaics not so much.
Well, I watched him when he went off on somebody sent me the link, and he was just being such a bully. It's like, oh my god. I actually AI'd the terminology for flexing or grandstanding.
That's hilarious.
I was like, what's the word when you're all pumped up, bragging,
chest pumping? Yeah,
flexing.
Question in the chat: any jade? And yes, Mike's got several artifacts with jade.
Yeah, the one of the big pieces that I've got, I just did a silicone mold of it, so it's not down here. But yeah, I've shown them quite a few times before. I think there's some beads over here that are jade still. If I can get it to focus here for you. There we go. Some of these are aventurine, but like some of these are jade. Not the best specimens. We found some really nice specimens. Nothing extremely large or anything like that. This is the parallel. There's two of these heads. There was the jade one that sits here, and then there's also a fluorite one about the same size. But this is about the extent of the size of piece of jade that we found. There's also blue jade here and there too.
What the big alien elongated head guy on your main table with the gold eyes, is that jade too or no?
Nope, it's green banded calcite.
Oh right, calcite. That's right.
Yeah, that's why it's so phosphorescent. It'll turn red usually. Seeing this cross is pretty unique though, because it's not the Ankh. We found the iron cross as well as one other two on pieces from this area. So it's interesting to see the different variations in existence at this time, if that's the case.
Sorry, I was muted there while typing. And the chat.
I figured you were pulling a Julia or something. Eating some food.
Wild that there's literally every symbol from every culture being represented more or less numerous times across your artifacts.
In some sense, yeah, but none of it's actually consistent to the languages that we know today. They're all proto languages, or not consistent to what we see, but it's definitely a cross contamination of many different languages. I'll show you one over here too, real quick. You see this kind of variation occasionally also, which is kind of more like a pre-Sinaitic or like a language from Canaanite, or from Canaan rather.
Oh, I like, man, and the bag there, but that's a long bag.
Yeah, this is a different bag, and we found this bag depicted in a few different cases on these pieces. Most of the time, it's not that bag; it's the standard, this type.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. We found one piece with a depiction of a triangle-looking bag like this. The piece came out. I passed on it, didn't buy it, and about 2 weeks later, they found this, and I did buy this. I wish I would have got them both, but I do have pictures at least.
And the cones. There's gotta be something to those.
Oh, I should make a copy of this. Heck yeah, good idea, guys. Oh man, making these molds has been really a interesting process. I was really against it when I first came across the idea because I didn't want to confuse people. You know, there's already a lot of naysayers on these pieces due to the media and the smear campaign. You know, kind of like it's like cannabis or something. You know, everybody thinks it's going to kill your brain cells, and now all of a sudden it's legal and utilized probably almost as much as alcohol. You know, it's crazy.
I feel you on that. I didn't know what to make of myself, but it's like you're making clear ones, and it's cool because it's keepsake.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to do all kinds of different ones, and what my goal is there's a company that's does a NFT where you can put a RFID chip in the piece, and then you can scan it and it'll show you the NFT. And so what we're going to do is because it's resin, we're actually going to embed the RFID chip into the resin. And that way you can scan the piece and see the NFT, and it'll show you a 3D scan of the object. It'll tell you the history and what we know about it. We'll keep that up to date as we learn and show where it's located. And that way it's got not just a keepsake, but it's also a historical record, which justifies it a lot more. And I'm not going to have that, at Contact in the Desert in the next few months. It's going to take some time to roll that out. I got to make sure people enjoy these things, and I got my process down perfect, but it's coming.
I like that idea though. That's actually like puts more value to it as well as differentiates between the actual artifacts and the replicas then.
Bingo. Yeah, and I mean you can feel it plain as day. Like these things are plastic and they weigh nothing, but it's definitely nice to be able to see the as and if you drop it and break it, it's not gonna be gone forever. Whereas these real ones, it's really dangerous. So to bring them to a show or an event is scary. And so to be able to bring a bunch of replicas as well as a couple real ones is much more justifiable too.
For sure. Like, I know I'm gonna have to get my hands on a couple of the replicas because probably can't afford the originals right now, but it'd be nice to own them and just look at the
Yeah, appreciate it, study
sense.
it. I mean, it's one thing my buddy said, and when he came over and I showed him to him, he's the guy that showed me these pieces, and he's like, man, it's crazy. I still feel the energy off of them. And I was like, that's weird. But then I thought about something, artistic works in general. It doesn't have to be the original tape that you recorded music to. Even an MP3 in compressed form still conveys energy, right? And so that's the way I look at it is that the art, the truth is still within the object. And so that gives it still some sort of, I don't know, but it's captivating. I mean, it's still a
The
captivating
power of
piece
the
of art, which is
sigil,
cool.
the power of the symbols and the sigils,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
the ones that genuinely look like alchemical sigils on your pieces.
Right. Yeah, and I've got them to glow here, which is kind of cool. Like it's something that I did that it's not like the originals. Like when I hit these, you can see like when I turn the light off, it doesn't really flash. When I turn the light off here, you see that like extra flash in there?
Yeah.
That doesn't happen on this stuff at all. There's no flash whatsoever. And that flare up is interesting because
Interesting. It is interesting.
so I don't know. We've still got so much to learn about this and understand.
I mean, what excites me and interests me the most is the what looks like the alien pictographic script or whatever to start putting that into the AI and see if it can make sense of it.
Yep. It's a little bit more tricky on some of these pieces on stuff like this, where it has some almost alchemical values. Should be really easy to start, doing comparative analysis. But really the most important thing now is just to get it all cataloged. And so we're going to scan all the objects with a high-end 3D scanner that's got AI built into it. Then we're going to start teaching the LLM all these images and all these scans, and then it's going to be able to start looking at this one versus this one and looking at the carving lines, the depths, the symmetry, all that stuff to be able to tell us, things about it and compare it to other pieces of art and things that have been scanned, etc. And yeah, I mean, building the database is really the important part, and that's the most time consuming and the hardest part to get to. And then the technology will probably follow as suit.
For sure. It's commendable to document it and try to figure out and make sense of it, because they
Yeah.
are OOPARTS, out of place artifacts.
When I first seen these things, I really thought I could disprove it or find someone that would be like, no, this is complete BS, and here's why. And what was interesting is I contacted all these ufologists, all these people from TV who do these alien shows, thinking that they would be all over this to either A, prove it or disprove it, and it was completely the opposite. It was almost like they ran from the topic.
Yeah, so many places, and you'd think that they would want to take samples to be able to show the dating off or to disprove it and whatnot, but the fact that no one is open to it just adds to the mystery, really.
I agree. Yeah, that's why if you want to do it right, you got to do it yourself.
Exactly. All right. Story, I think we'll keep her order tonight to an hour, if that's all right. And
sounds great to me, man.
For sure. Appreciate it, Mike.
Interesting stuff.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Steve. Stig coming on. And no, it's getting late for you. We'll have to do another episode with each of you on all of the work that you guys are doing and get the rundown. Stig from Eye of Sahara and Mike with the test results you're getting back as well.
I also went to the Pillars of Hercules, the Gibraltar and Jebel Musa. Gibraltar is actually named Jebel is Arabic, right? Jebel means mountain, and then it was like this guy Gibraltar is this guy. I just learned it. I used to think it's freaking a transliteration. Anyways, sorry, I get excited.
No worries.
That's what passion's where it's at.
Exactly.
I loved my trip. I just went on, and I spent a lot of money, but honestly, I can't say, oh, I wish I wouldn't do it. I would do it all over again. I'd spend a little more money.
Yep.
Exactly. Yep. And
it's worth it.
You
were mentioning St. Michael's. You were mentioning St. Michael's, and I went to Gibraltar, and I missed it, but there's the St. Michael's cave, and I got some graphics that I grabbed from somebody's YouTube channel. But the St. Michael's cave is just crazy. What you were saying earlier totally resonated with what I saw.
Interesting. Oh, I'm gonna have to check that out. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just a clip I've got, but check out my channel at Stig, and the video that plays. I didn't go there, so I had to grab it from someplace else. But I did go to Hercules cave. That's in Tangiers, Morocco, and then I found another cave right there between the Pillars of Hercules, and I went down in there and I grabbed a shot of that. Life is good. I feel good about life. I mean, I'm happy with my life right now, and I've been doing a lot of remodeling, and I hung a door. My door is well hung. My door is well hung.
Well hung door. Can't get better than a well hung door and getting back from a trip to the Pillars of Hercules.
Yeah, carpentry. I'm tired from all that work. But anyways, I'll stop talking. And I want to talk about it. I got a couple other interviews coming up. I was supposed to go to Taiwan, and I'm right now I'm kind of hesitant. Maybe I should back off this trip because money, one, and number two, just the timing. It's just not adding up for me right now in the head. So I'm going through a lot of mental issues and where I'm going next. I want to go back to Europe. I want to go back to Spain. That was awesome.
You gotta follow your guy.
And by the way, I know how to live in Morocco. Live in Morocco for $16 a day in a hotel. I know a hotel. $16, man.
Wow.
I can afford that. I'm going.
Heck yeah, I gotta go back with you now.
Yeah,
Next year.
$16 a day. Forget the rest. Just go there because you're
Can't
not
even
going to
cross
spend
the
any
street
money.
here for that.
Yeah,
Right?
that's the big
All right.
news. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you and love you all. And we will do this again very soon. Thank you, Mike. Thank you,
You
Dave.
bet. Have a good night,
And
guys.
ta-ta. You as well.